Jeffrey Bruce Atkins, famously known as Ja Rule, is a multi-platinum selling rapper, actor, and entrepreneur whose rise to fame in the late 1990s and early 2000s helped define a crucial era in hip-hop and R&B. Known for his gritty voice, streetwise persona, and radio-friendly hooks, Ja Rule became a dominant figure in the music industry. However, his journey has also been marked by legal troubles, high-profile feuds, and public scrutiny. This is a detailed look into the life and legacy of Ja Rule. Ja Rule grew up in a tough neighborhood surrounded by the realities of inner-city life. His father left the family when he was young, leaving his mother and grandparents to raise him. As a child, Ja Rule was drawn to music but also faced challenges with faith and street life. His religious upbringing clashed with the violent, drug-ridden environment of Queens, and eventually, he strayed from the teachings of the Jehovah's Witness Church. He began rapping in his early teens and attended Martin Van Buren High School, but ultimately dropped out before graduation. In the early 90s, Ja Rule formed a hip-hop group called Cash Money Clique, alongside friends Chris Black and O1. The group caught some attention with their raw style and street edge, eventually signing with TVT Records. Unfortunately, one of the members was imprisoned, and the group disbanded before reaching mainstream success. Ja Rule, however, stood out as a solo act. His powerful voice, aggressive delivery, and charismatic stage presence attracted the attention of Irv Gotti, a young producer and music executive. Gotti became his mentor and helped him secure a deal with Def Jam Recordings, launching a new chapter in Ja Rule's life. Ja Rule's debut album, Veni Vidi Vici, 1999, was a commercial success, thanks in part to the hit single Holla Holla. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum, marking the beginning of his dominance. He became the flagship artist of Irv Gotti's new label, Murder Inc. Records, under the Def Jam umbrella. Over the next few years, Ja Rule released a string of chart-topping albums and singles, often blending hardcore rap with R&B choruses. Despite his success, Ja Rule became embroiled in one of hip-hop's most infamous feuds with 50 Cent and G-Unit. The feud, rooted in street-level conflicts and professional jealousy, escalated into full-blown diss tracks, violent altercations, and a media circus. 50 Cent's rise, marked by his brutal attacks on Ja Rule in songs like Wanksta and Back Down, coincided with Ja Rule's commercial decline. Hip-hop fans started to view Ja Rule as soft or too R&B, while 50 Cent's grittier style and aggressive image captured the public's imagination. In addition, Murder Inc. Records faced serious legal issues. In 2003, the label was investigated for money laundering due to its ties with a notorious drug kingpin, Kenneth Supreme McGriff. Although Ja Rule and Irv Gotti were not convicted, the association damaged their reputation and stalled the label's momentum. As his career cooled, Ja Rule faced personal and legal challenges. In 2011, he was convicted of illegal gun possession and tax evasion, resulting in a 28-month prison sentence. He served time at Rikers Island and later at Ray Brook Federal Prison in New York. During his incarceration, Ja Rule reflected on his life, studied religion and politics, and worked on writing and music. His time behind bars helped him regain focus and maturity, and he emerged from prison determined to rebuild his legacy. After his release, Ja Rule returned to the studio and released a memoir, Unruly: The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man, in 2014, chronicling his tumultuous life, mistakes, and lessons. He also explored new ventures, including tech and entrepreneurship. In 2017, however, Ja Rule's name was once again in headlines for all the wrong reasons, this time for his involvement in the disastrous Fyre Festival, co-founded with entrepreneur Billy McFarland. Marketed as a luxury music festival in the Bahamas, Fyre Festival became a global scandal when it turned out to be a poorly organized, fraudulent event. Ja Rule claimed he was unaware of the scam and was eventually cleared of criminal charges, but his public image suffered another blow. During his incarceration, Ja Rule reflected on his life, studied religion and politics, and worked on writing and music. His time behind bars helped him regain focus and maturity, and he emerged from prison determined to rebuild his legacy. After his release, Ja Rule returned to the studio and released a memoir, Unruly: The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man, in 2014, chronicling his tumultuous life, mistakes, and lessons. He also explored new ventures, including tech and entrepreneurship. In 2017, however, Ja Rule's name was once again in headlines for all the wrong reasons, this time for his involvement in the disastrous Fyre Festival, co-founded with entrepreneur Billy McFarland. Marketed as a luxury music festival in the Bahamas, Fyre Festival became a global scandal when it turned out to be a poorly organized, fraudulent event. Ja Rule claimed he was unaware of the scam and was eventually cleared of criminal charges, but his public image suffered another blow. Despite the controversies, Ja Rule remains a respected figure in the hip-hop world. He has embraced his role as a pioneer of the rap and R&B fusion genre that dominated the early 2000s and influenced later artists like Drake, Tory Lanez, and Bryson Tiller. He's also remained active in business, launching a Greek food app, investing in cryptocurrency, and working on independent music projects. In 2021, he participated in a Verzuz battle against Fat Joe, where fans praised his performance and nostalgic hits, leading to renewed appreciation for his contributions. Ja Rule has been married to his high school sweetheart, Aisha Atkins, since 2001. The couple has 3 children, Brittany, Jeffrey Jr., and Jordan. Despite his fame and legal issues, Ja Rule has often credited his wife and family with keeping him grounded. Despite the controversy, Ja Rule's net worth is best understood not as a static figure, but as a living graph soaring in the early 2000s, plummeting through legal crises and reputational disasters, and then clawing its way back, step by pragmatic step. Born Jeffrey Bruce Atkins in Queens, he became, by the turn of the millennium, one of hip-hop's most bankable stars. By conservative estimates, the combination of multi-platinum albums, relentless touring, film roles, and a lucrative stake in Murder Inc. pushed his wealth in the early 2000s to well over $20 million. But like many celebrity fortunes built quickly, it proved fragile. Shifting musical tides, a brutal public feud, federal scrutiny of his label, prison time, unpaid taxes, and finally the Fyre Festival debacle would shear away most of that peak valuation. In 2025, analysts generally place his wealth in the $4-6 million range, a testament to both how high he once climbed and how determinedly he has fought to remain solvent, relevant, and crucially independent. The money first came fast. Between 1999 and 2002, Ja Rule released a run of albums: Veni Veti Veci, Rule 336, Pain is Love, The Last Temptation that did what few rappers had managed at the time. Marry the rugged cadence of New York street rap to pop-perfect R&B hooks, often with Ashanti, Jennifer Lopez, and other crossover stars. Radio loved him, clubs loved him, MTV loved him, and the checks reflected that adoration. Touring fees in the low to mid 6 figures per night compounded the album money. Soundtrack placements, acting roles, and endorsements added gloss and cash flow. And as Murder Inc. Sass Point Man, he shared in a business model that was printing money at its apex. At this moment, Ja Rule embodied the idealized version of Ali, hip-hop mogul in the making. The voice, the hits, the business infrastructure, the brand. But the same marketplace that crowned him could be merciless. And it was. The cultural shift toward a more austere, authentically street image, personified most dramatically by 50 Cent, collided with Ja Rule's melodic radio dominance, transforming his hit-making formula into a punchline almost overnight. Simultaneously, the federal government's investigation into Murder Inc., Sennis' alleged laundering connections to Kenneth Supreme McGriff, didn't just cost money in legal fees, it cost momentum, distribution confidence, and corporate goodwill. Even without criminal convictions against Ja Rule himself, the specter of that probe dimmed opportunities. Revenue lines thinned, and public perception, perhaps the most valuable intangible asset a mainstream artist possesses, curdled. Then came the body blows with a bottom-line price tag. In 2011, Ja Rule reported to prison on gun possession charges, while also grappling with a tax bill of over $1 million, including penalties and interest, for mid-2000s income. Prison is expensive in ways the public rarely sees. There's the lost income, the opportunity cost of years not touring, not recording, not negotiating deals, not building. When he walked out in 2013, the man who had once stared down 8-digit earnings was, by most estimates, hovering close to 7 figures or less. In financial terms, the old model had vanished. He would either have to reinvent or fade into an annuity of nostalgia and diminishing royalty checks. Reinvention, however, is exactly what he attempted. He wrote a memoir, Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man, converting notoriety into narrative capital. He went back to the stage, leveraging the powerful nostalgia economy that blossomed in the streaming era. The kids who loved Always on Time had grown into adults eager to pay for the soundtrack of their adolescence. Royalties now buoyed by a catalog era in which streams never sleep trickled in more predictably. And, crucially, Ja Rule tried to repurpose his celebrity into founder energy, venturing into tech and platforms designed to broker access between stars and fans. But then, the most disastrous chapter for his brand equity unfolded. Fyre Festival. Promoted as an ultra-luxury music weekend in the Bahamas, it devolved into a viral parable of fraud, incompetence, and social media schadenfreude. Though Ja Rule ultimately avoided criminal liability, his partner Billy McFarland went to prison. The civil lawsuits, the legal fees, and the reputational toxicity dragged like an anchor on every prospective venture that followed. The festival didn't just cost money directly, it also cost trust. For an entrepreneur, that's a line item you can't easily quantify on a balance sheet, but one that quietly compounds interest against you in every negotiation. What's notable is that even after Fyre, Ja Rule did not slink away. He leaned into the lessons, the mea culpas, the hustle. He relaunched with ICONN, a booking and content platform meant to be a transparent, ethical refutation of Fyre's central sins. He dipped into NFTs and crypto during the 2021 boom, rode the cultural resurgence of Verzuz, where a show-stopping performance against Fat Joe reminded millions why his catalog mattered, and kept touring. He took speaking engagements about failure and resilience, cashing checks precisely because his story had become a case study in both. He explored food tech partnerships and other startup investments that, if not unicorn makers, at least diversified his income far beyond the narrow funnel of music royalties. Thus, the Ja Rule who stands in 2025 is no longer a champagne-spraying chart king counting first-week sales. He is a mid-career artist entrepreneur overseeing a portfolio of modest but durable revenue streams, streaming and catalog royalties, performance fees from nostalgia tours, platform equity from tech ventures, brand deals that have crept back as the fire smoke thinned, and the occasional media check for putting his cautionary tale into words for audiences who crave stories of public collapse and personal recalibration. The consensus valuation, $4-6 million, is not spectacular compared to the titans of his generation, but it is sturdy, self-made twice over, and proof of a long, grinding rebuild. There is, finally, a moral to Ja Rule's net worth saga, and it has little to do with exact dollar figures. His fortune is a biography in numbers, a demonstration of how swiftly extraordinary wealth can evaporate under the combined pressure of hubris, legal missteps, cultural shifts, and bad partnerships, and how, with humility and persistence, an artist can distill what remains, the catalogue, the name, the work ethic, into a second act. In a culture obsessed with the binary huge wins or humiliating Ja Rule's balance sheet tells a subtler truth. He was very rich, he lost most of it, and now he is sustainably comfortable, maybe even positioned for an upside if one of his bets lands. The arc from gilded superstardom to taxable reality to entrepreneurial resilience is not as glamorous as the first act, but it is, in financial terms, the more instructive one. It's the story of how money is made, unmade, and if you're stubborn enough, made again.